Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is Wednesday night. It's your favorite day of the week because you get to spend it with your girlfriends. We got the crew in the house tonight. We got Laura, the Lions lover, and Beth, the Bills lover. I love the alliterations here. And you got your girl, Desi. I'm here representing the 49ers. And ladies, it's been another fantastic week in the NFL. Lots to chat about. But let's go ahead and catch up. How are things? What's the new?
Life is lifing as it always is. We're getting super close to the holidays. We've got one more sick person in our house that we're trying to recover. So, tis the season, right? Hopefully we get it all out of the way, and we're all healthy for the holidays.
Yeah, I would love that for you. Laura, what's new and exciting in North Kakalaki?
Oh, geez. Everything. Gosh. Since last week, I started a part-time job, which is going well so far. And then doing my own business in the afternoons. And then, just preparing for the holidays.
Fantastic. Yeah, Beth, I'm with you. Life be lifing. I'm just going to leave it at that. I feel like every day I just look older and older. Like I feel like this week has lasted forever, but I always live for Wednesday night when I get to see your beautiful faces and talk about football. So let's just peel the Band-Aid. What's up, Gabe? Gabe is in the house. Thank you for joining us. Before we jump into talking about the games from last week, I do want to mention we have an amazing guest that's joining us tonight. We're going to be talking about sports nutrition, and we're going to see if there's any connection between it and sports performance or injury prevention, or does it help or hinder or have any effect at all at people coming back from injury? So we're going to get all of those questions answered from a very reliable source, a woman who's been in the game for more than a decade. So we'll talk to her in just a bit, but let's go ahead and chat. Laura, let's start with you, sis.
You like to rip those Band-Aids off. So
get it done early, right?
Get it over with. Yeah. So the Lions did not have a fantastic week this week. We were playing the Eagles, which, I was hopeful we'd beat them, but they are the Super Bowl champions. And, it was definitely, this one was one I kind of had in the possibly L category, but it was the way in which we lost to them that was just horrible. They didn't play fantastically either. It was just a mess. And we didn't score a lot. We had a beautiful touchdown by Jamison Williams, who then Hangle McCringleberried it, as they say. And
who says it? Who says that?
Apparently, everybody since the Panthers game a couple weeks ago or last week or whenever it was, where the kid did the actual Key and Peele, the pumps. And so now they're calling every time you get a celebration penalty, a Hingle McCringleberry, they being fans, I suppose. But anyway, he jumped up and hugged the goalpost, and that's not allowed. So it backed them up for the extra point, and it cost us the extra point, and that just started downhill. Listen,
NFL, if anything, can we just have our touchdown celebrations? Like, if you're not hurting anybody, can you hug? You can't hug a goalpost. What are we even doing here?
Right. Well, you can have elaborate skits with the entire team and not a single penalty called, but you hug a goalpost. And also with the pumps, like if we just didn't make a big deal out of it, no one would care. The only reason we know is because people throw flags and make a big deal out of it. But the other thing I want to point out is, last week or, the week before, Dan Campbell was calling the plays. It seemed great. It seemed like it was turning us around in the right direction. But this time, same thing apparently was happening. But Dan Campbell, this goes to you directly, Dan Campbell. Please stop going for it on fourth down every single time. There are times that you should not do that. And that was every time you did in this game against the Eagles. So let's stop. And that's my message.
Laura has spoken. Beth, I think you're rubbing off on her.
Sorry.
Well, it worked for you last week, right?
It did. Look, Josh gives a shit now.
Well, let's get into it, Beth. Let's talk about your Bills.
Listen, we are the most bipolar team in the NFL this season. We won against the Bucs. It was fabulous. We are now 7-3, respectable record at the moment. Josh Allen had a stupid game, 3 touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. He's the only quarterback in the NFL to do that twice now.
Before the age of 30, was it?
He was the only. No. This stat is literally the only quarterback in the NFL. Yes, he was the only one to do it last season, and now he's done it twice. 317 passing yards. He did have a couple turnovers, though. Stupid decision making on his part. He called himself out on it as well. Outside of Josh Allen being amazing, Gabe Davis, Terrell Shavers, they also played great games. They made it. Nobody noticed that Keon Coleman sat out the game as a healthy scratch. Young players need to learn that you need to show up for practice. We don't even know if he's going to play next week or play tomorrow at this rate. The last Coach McDermott said we're taking it day by day, and that was today. So I don't know what that means for tomorrow. We didn't miss him, though. I mean, Coleman, I love you. You got to grow up. People are paying you a lot of money to show up. All you got to do is show up. Our defense played better than it has in a long time. Our rushing defense is still pretty rough. The Bucs had, 367 yards of offense, 200 plus in rushing alone. We have got to clean that up. It is still ugly, but we will see what that looks like in the future. All in all, I am very happy with the outcome of Sunday's game.
Nice. Well, I have to say, ladies, I have needed something in life to hold on to because life be lifing, like we said. And boy, did I not get the most beautiful nugget of happiness. And it came in threes. So not only did my 49ers just bounce back terrifically from a loss from the Rams and beat the you-know-whats out of the Arizona Cardinals, Brock Purdy was back. Ricky Pearsall was back. I mean, I was living my best 49er life. Everything was great. My fantasy team won despite Jamar Chase, despite, Eddie P getting a hamstring injury, despite getting a -1 for the Chargers defense. I won my fantasy game. And also, ladies, I just want to say, I think I only got 3 picks wrong from last week's picks. So I needed that little spot of joy in my life. So I'm happy. And, to your point about Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey is sneakily coming up into much conversations about potentially repeating another offensive player of the year. He is now, he's on track to be another 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receptions twice in history, the first one to do that. So he's on track for that. Could be the first. So he racked up 2 touchdowns this last game. George Kittle had a couple touchdowns. We had Sky Moore running in, doing a return, the first at the kickoff. He did the kickoff return, 98 yards to the end zone. It was beautiful. Defense is the struggle bus, but struggle bus. So we need to get it together as we look ahead to week 12, but I'm a happy girl. So let's go ahead and welcome everybody in the chat. If you're not here to chat about football, I may boot you out because we don't talk about other nonsensical things. But if you want to sit here and chat football with us, you are more invited to the cookout. Come and join us. We're going to just skim on through. We got some really cool announcements to make real quick of who's in the news. today we bring you joy and happiness. There is good news out here in the internets relating to the NFL. Beth, I'm going to let you announce this first one here because it basically is about one of your Bills players. Oh,
it's a new baby. So this all came about. I was super worried because I was looking up some information about the Bills, and it showed that Khalil Shakir was out of practice all week this week for personal reasons, quote unquote. So then I had to I started doing some digging and realized the personal reason is because him and his wife just had a new baby girl, Sunny Haven. So she was born on Tuesday. She's adorable. We love her. And Khalil Shakir will be playing in her honor this week in Houston. So congratulations.
Congratulations. She's precious. And along in the same lines, Tampa Bay's very own Baker Mayfield and his wife Emily are expecting baby number 2. And it looks like it's going to be a boy. So congratulations to the Mayfield family. You know what? This could be such an exciting year for Baker in more than one way. So shout out to them and the Buccaneers for that bit of news. So real quick, we're going to talk about a couple games real quick from this past week, and then we're going to bring on our guest. Ladies, the Browns are at it again. They've got another quarterback.
42. 42.
The 42nd. It's like presidents at this point.
It is like the presidents.
It really is.
The 42nd quarterback of the Cleveland Browns is Shedeur Sanders. He went in the third quarter after Gabriel left the game. I believe it was a concussion. So he is pulled up from the bullpen, so to speak. And it wasn't awesome, but he never had any first team reps. He was thrown in there. I believe he understands how hard it is to be a mobile quarterback in the NFL. Did you guys watch that? Did you see that?
I did not watch it. Sorry.
I did not either. I had a bunch of other games going on. That was not one of them.
I mean, who's going to watch a Browns game? I mean, really. So Browns fans out there.
I just said the tickets were cheaper than a beer and a hot dog. So
that's right.
Yeah, we could have gone to that game for less than we pay for Sunday ticket.
Or the parking.
Yeah, parking was probably more expensive than getting in. You're right.
Exactly.
Family of 4.
Exactly. So, so that was an interesting game. And other news, the Atlanta Falcons, what are we doing? As we thought when we watched the draft actually happen when they drafted Penix, we are still scratching our heads over why they paid so much money to Kirk Cousins and turn around and draft a quarterback who has now been injured 5 times out of his 8 years with season-ending injuries. I hate that for him.
We're taking notes from Cleveland. See how many quarterbacks you can throw on your roster, pay them a lot of money, and get nothing back from them in return.
Well, they're acing that. I mean, that is what is happening.
I was watching, I don't know if I sent it to you. I was watching a reel, and it was about the Falcons. It was basically how the Falcons are just giving up on football altogether. Like not this season, just
total.
We're done with football.
But the crazy thing is, Atlanta literally is one of the best places to go to a game. Like the best, so much energy.
Super fun. They're super fun.
Super fun.
It's not.
Not in the locker room. Okay. All right, Atlanta, you got some work to do.
Yep.
So, all right. Without further ado, we're going to bring on our guest. So we're going to intro this. We're technically going to enter this as sports and medicine. We're going to start with our guests, and then we're going to enter into a couple more discussions to follow on the sports and medicine segment, and then we'll follow up from there. So let's welcome our guest into our sports and medicine segment. All right. right. Since becoming a registered dietitian in 2012, Cassandra has helped thousands of people improve their health and quality of life through balanced, evidence-based nutrition. Her private practice launched in 2016 with an approach that looks at the whole person, not just symptoms. By considering lifestyle, genetics, environment, and personal health history, Cassandra works to uncover root causes and restore balance from the inside out. Her focus is on nutrition for resilience and well-being, helping individuals build confidence in their food choices and develop sustainable, lasting habits. Her educational background includes a master's degree in dietetics and nutrition and a bachelor's degree in exercise science, a combination chosen intentionally as joyful movement has always been a cornerstone of her approach to wellness. As a seasoned fitness instructor and nutrition educator, Cassandra also served as a trusted media resource, sharing accurate and practical guidance with communities across Southwest Florida. Cass, girl, you're in the house. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm still surprised that you can't hug a goalpost. I'm like shocked at that. I didn't think.
I mean, crazy, right? The question is, will he get fined? I'm waiting to see if they'll get fined.
He did $25K for that.
Oh my God.
Okay, listeners, I need you to remember that because later I'm going to bring up where that money could be used to help somebody else. We talked about this pre-show. I am saying it when we get to that part.
That's hilarious.
So Cass, welcome. You are amongst the girlfriends here. We've got some listeners.
I love it. So happy to be here.
And we go back several years. We've worked together.
We sure do.
But I don't know that we've actually
things.
been able to have a conversation that revolves around nutrition and sports. So, I mean, walk us through what are some of the most important, what do we need to know about performance nutrition? Let's start there.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm really happy that this topic is getting attention because 100% nutrition choices can help athletes move better, recover faster, and become stronger. So if you think about like an athlete's body or anybody's body really as an expensive car, you wouldn't expect a car to run properly on like cheap fuel or even worse, like no fuel at all. So the same goes for athletes or for non-athletes as well. But definitely under fueling can lead to fatigue, and that can lead to muscle loss and then lack of strength and then impaired immune function. And all of that can increase the risk of injury. And then it can also influence how fast someone recovers and goes back out there on the field. So to answer your kind of like original overarching question about injuries, if an injury, was to occur, the nutritional needs definitely change in a couple different ways. I mean, I think people usually think about protein first, but protein needs are going to be increased because the body needs to repair damaged muscles and damaged tissues, depending on, the severity of the injury. But protein is also important to prevent what's called muscle atrophy. So if you think about when an athlete gets injured, there's going to be a period of inactivity. And during that period of inactivity, there is a risk of muscle loss. So it's not that, consuming protein is just going to, make them just pop up with new muscles, but it can prevent a significant loss or muscle atrophy, which is important. And then there are specific vitamins, specifically vitamin C and zinc would be important for wound healing, depending on even any injury is going to be important. Wound healing is going to be important, but vitamin C is specifically important for collagen production, which can then restore like strength and elasticity to the injured area. So yes, most definitely our nutrition makes a big difference with preventing injuries, but also recovering fast and safely.
Very cool. Let me ask you this. Vitamin C is also an important antioxidant, which is helpful in decreasing the inflammatory response to these things too. Is there a difference between nutritional needs when there is a muscular injury versus a bone injury?
Yes, just like small nuances. Like for bone healing, for example, vitamin D is going to be paramount. With muscle, there's probably going to be a higher priority for protein. but no matter what, like balanced, good nutrition, anti-inflammatory diet is going to be important. So while an athlete is healing, an anti-inflammatory diet, it would be important. So not turning to alcohol or like processed sugar, or obviously none of that would be a great idea. And sticking to antioxidants and just a really like overall healthy whole foods diet would be the best bet.
Okay. Let me ask you this. At what stage would you say pulling in a dietitian into an athlete's team, right? Because there's always a team, their coach and maybe a trainer. And, they tend to accumulate these folks that help them reach their athletic goals. At what stage, athletics in the adolescence is becoming so huge and competitive. What stage, when would you advise a parent or a coach to say, hey, let's think about bringing in a dietitian to help this athlete in their goals?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think about my own family and specifically my nephews with soccer, and they're in elementary school. And I think that is the best time. And I try to dabble and give them my little thoughts as much as they'll listen. But preventing injuries at that age, at any age, is important, but especially that age, because there's so many things going on. Like they're growing, they might have an appetite, they might not, depending on kind of like what stage they're going through at the moment. But I would say elementary school. And honestly, my older child is in preschool, and I do nutrition classes for the parents of the preschoolers. And I know this doesn't have to do with athletes, but I think it's important for all ages is really what I'm trying to say. And I might just be saying that because, I am a dietitian and it's just the focal point of my life. But I think it's never too early to start talking to kids and adolescent athletes about healthy carbohydrates and protein and healthy fats and how that can all balance in a really nice way to help them get to whatever their goal is.
Yeah, I have an athlete who during cross country, they were running 50 to 60 miles a week. And trying to keep up their nutritional intake was pretty intense. And I basically was like, if you're not eating, you're not running. And just trying to make them eat is tricky. So that's kind of, as a parent of an athlete, trying to figure out what the balance is and when do you elicit, how do you figure out what the nutritional needs are? So that's really important.
Yeah. And that can be, it can almost be, dangerous when we think about like if they're just running on fumes. Like, again, if you think about like an expensive car that's just running on fumes, I feel like it could just blow up at any moment. But if we think about things like if a teenager is running that many miles, and say we're in Florida and it's super hot, just 2% drop in body water can impair performance, which can slow reaction time, increase fatigue, make it harder to regulate body temperature, and all of that can increase the risk of getting hurt. And that could be like, who knows, it could be a career ending injury that could have been prevented by just smart nutrition choices.
Can that cause hamstring strains?
Dehydration?
Yes.
Oh, is that what you're asking? I couldn't see.
Yes, there's a reason I'm asking this, which is why I'm highlighting it right now. So there's a certain team keeps getting hamstring pulls, and like the collective fan base is, we're losing our minds because, we're trying to identify where they're coming from. And so I feel like, and I've talked about dehydration being a part of it, but just kind of want to hear it.
My first thought would be, there are dehydration related muscle cramps and fatigue that can lead to injuries. So I would definitely say it's connected. I don't know if it's directly the cause. It could also be, low in electrolytes, if their electrolytes haven't been replenished. But I would definitely say it could be improved by good nutrition. If they want to hire a dietitian, I'm right here if they need me.
Yes, reach out to my girl for sure. One area many athletes overlook is nutrient timing. Can you talk to us about that, and how's that beneficial, and what does that even mean, timing?
Yes. Yeah. So the timing means, Okay, so referring to fueling our body. So before, during, and after exercise, it's going to be important to allow the body to perform optimally and then recover optimally to go back the next day and do it all over again. So I think it's really important for athletes to experiment to determine the optimal timing for them because it does depend on, is this high intensity activity? How long is it? Is it endurance training? Is it quick bursts of energy? So there's kind of, some nuances in there. But no matter what, 1 hour or less prior to training, you want to have some easily digestible carbohydrates. So that could be like, it could be like a banana and some almond butter or peanut butter, not a lot. We don't want like a heavy amount because it's going to be heavy in the stomach and that's not going to go very well at all. But definitely something within 1 hour prior to training. And then during workouts, it does depend on how long it is and kind of what we're doing. But if the session is over 90 minutes, you would want some quick carbohydrates. So again, it's going to be digested quickly. So there are like these sports gels that, people can get into. Dried fruit can also be an easy one. Fresh fruit, like a banana. It does depend on what we're doing. So if we're swimming like 800 miles, like we're not going to be able to just like eat a banana while swimming. So it does depend on what you're doing. And then after training, I think before and after are the two most important time frames, because if you're not fueling before, you're going to hit a wall, which is not going to be helpful. And then afterwards, between 30 and 60 minutes after training, this is kind of like the recovery window that you want to take advantage of. And athletes need, and regular people as well, we need carbohydrates to fuel, we need protein to repair, and we need fluid to rehydrate. So honestly, the quickest, easiest form of like food after a training workout would actually be low-fat chocolate milk. And I remember I knew someone who was in the NFL and there was always chocolate milk like on their way out. And I always thought that was so interesting because I remember reading about it and learning about it. And then I was like, oh, that is really a thing that people go for, athletes go for chocolate milk, So.
And non-athletes too, just so you know, Cass.
Okay. So I am not an athlete, so I do not know that. I mean, I do Zumba, but it's not the same as, the Iron Man or anything.
Yeah. Ladies, do you guys have questions for Cass?
Well, we have a question from the listeners, and to go to your topic of that kids should be, very attentive to what they're eating. We've got a young fan, 13, who wants to know what to eat to gain weight.
Ooh, this is a good one. And also a conversation that I do have with my nephew around the same age. So to gain weight, really what we need is probably just a higher amount of energy intake, which is overall calories. But the overall calories that we're consuming or drinking, we want it to be coming from healthy sources. So my first thought is things like peanut butter, almond butter, if you're into that, fish, if you're into that. I hope 13-year-olds are into that, but maybe they're not. Avocado, I don't know if I said that already, olive oil. These are all omega-3 healthy fats. So they're higher in calories. So they have a bigger nutrient density, if we want to put it that way, but really just a balanced diet. So fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains, like oatmeal for breakfast with banana and a little bit of peanut butter would be perfect. So also, before I forget, on that same note, whey protein has the highest amount of a specific essential amino acid called leucine. And leucine is specifically really studied and proven to be helpful for protein muscle synthesis. So if you were to have a nice workout, not immediately, but within 30 to 60 minutes after that, either chocolate milk or a protein shake that has whey protein in it, because that has the highest amount of leucine.
And what about our dairy sensitive or dairy allergic?
Yes.
Folks?
I'm glad that you asked that. So leucine is also in plant-based proteins. So like soy protein, pea protein blends, lentils, beans, pumpkin seeds, and quinoa. There's leucine in those. It's just you need a larger like portion size because a typical serving of like chicken, turkey, eggs, fish, especially tuna or salmon, is going to have 2 to 3 grams of leucine, a typical serving, which is what we want. But if you're going the plant-based route, which I definitely advocate for, it's just going to be a bigger portion. That's really all.
Okay. Well, that's great. Beth, any questions?
No, I think it's great to hear these conversations because I think back to being a college athlete and the amount of nutritional information that we received was very minimal.
I'm like, you got some? I didn't get any.
We had a handful of conversations. We did have a handful of conversations, but there was nothing really impressive provided to us, right? Like the coaches did say, make sure you grab like before your 4 a.m. practice, eat a graham cracker in the car with some peanut butter.
Yeah.
That was probably about the extent. Make sure you eat dinner after practice. There wasn't a whole lot. So the idea of like focusing more time on nutrition and spending time teaching our kids about that, I think is really interesting and important. It's interesting. So you were talking about, and I guess here's a question. You're talking about, whey protein and supplementing and things of that nature. What age is that appropriate for? Is that an adult only type of thing, or can high schoolers do it? At what point can you look into adding a protein?
That's actually a really good question. And I've only worked with adults in my life, so I really don't have like an official. I want to say like 16. Desi might actually have more. Do you know? Like, is there like a guideline on that?
I don't know that there's a specific guideline of an actual age. I think that for my family, we started when they started high school sports. I felt like the activity load, what they were doing required something that was quick and easy, and that would be filling that, again, like I said, 50 to 60 miles a week is a lot. And I'm like, you have to have a protein shake. Like you can't not have it, right? Like that's just the quickest way to get it in you. And then eating food 6 times a day on top of that. So, I think you just got to have that conversation with either a dietitian that works specifically with kids, the pediatrician. Again, those are some reliable sources. Do not Google search it. Do not go and ask ChatGPT, because there are conditions that you may need to be very careful about with doing something like that. So please make sure you touch base with your medical provider or a registered dietitian who specializes in pediatrics.
Yeah. And I think just to I don't know, like a final thought, I guess. When we think about athletes, like what they're having on game day is kind of, what is the word? There's this word that my husband uses. It's called lagniappe. It's like this Southern thing. It means like that's just extra. But really what's most important is what athletes are eating consistently and what their daily habits are looking like. And even like beyond the plate, what is their sleep looking like? What is their stress looking like? All of those kind of like pillars of wellness are also important. But game day is just kind of like where they shine, hopefully. But everything leading up to that and then everything after that is really the priority.
So carb loading the night before doesn't really make a difference.
No, it's probably just going to make someone bloated. I mean, there's going to be some pros. It depends on what kind of sport they're doing. Like if they need all the muscle glycogen to use for their energy source. But yeah, I think that's a little overrated.
Love it. Well, Cass, thanks for joining us today. You've come with such, as always, just brilliant comments, insight, and just good information that we can share with all of our listeners. Tell everybody where they can find you for more information.
So I have a website. It's cassandragolden.com. And I'm also on Instagram. What is my Instagram handle? I think it's nutrition _ right? Nutrition. Yeah. Nutrition _nibbles _ dietitian, something like that. You can just find me through Desi. Yeah, and you can find me watching the Saints games. I will probably not know any of the rules, but I'll be in the background cheering and wearing gold. I don't know if that's a good thing to say out loud or not, but
Oh, as well, and you know that you can't hug
I learned a
yeah,
goalpost.
a goalpost. There you go.
Yeah,
The only
unless I'm
rule
gonna
you
lose
really need to know.
25,000. Right. Sheesh. Well, thank
Cass,
you, ladies, for having me.
hey,
Yes.
come
Thank
back
you.
anytime. I'm sure we can think of more questions to ask. And as the season
I'll
goes
be
on,
here.
we may just do that. So thanks,
Yes,
Cass.
sounds good. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Bye. All right. To continue on, what great information, right? To continue on, we're going to cover real quick. So shout out to Coach Crocky and or B Croc. P Croc, is that what? Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker, who covered Locked On 49ers show. If you listen to their show, they were talking a little bit about Brandon Ayuk's injury and why other players with kind of comparable injuries are already coming back, or it's not taken as long. What could be the holdup? And I think Peacock actually said it, and I just wanted to validate him. You don't know what type of tears these are. So just because, Brandon Ayuk had an ACL and MCL tear and meniscus tear, you don't know, was it a full thickness tear? And was it a partial tear? Was it, where along the ligament did it get torn? There's lots of different things that can change kind of the surgical outcome and the surgical planning. So
Nutrition, as we've learned.
Right.
Very much so, nutrition. And so if someone had like a partial MCL tear and a full thickness ACL tear, I mean, that person is probably going to come back quicker because, you can heal a partial MCL tear without surgical intervention. And the surgery really is the ACL. He had a meniscal tear as well. So, I mean, Beth, did you want to add anything to that comment?
No, I think you're right, though. I think we need to stop comparing each injury with another injury. There's so many extraneous factors that go into the healing process and the rehab process that while, yes, it may be taking longer, like we've said in the past, we'd rather have it healed and have it stable versus re-injuring too quickly and returning too quick. So,
yeah, I mean, you can take anything, right? I mean, everybody got, COVID, and we all got it at different levels. Just because we all got the same thing doesn't mean that our bodies handled it the same way. So, so I hope that answers some questions. I thought it was great discussion that they had on that podcast, and I thoroughly respect what they both do and what they bring to us 49er fans. So keep doing what you're doing. Just wanted to address that with Beth here present too. And lastly, the injury we want to cover today is Lane Johnson of the Eagles. He got a Liz Frank injury. So we're going to talk about Liz Frank injuries. Liz Frank injuries is a mid-foot injury, as you can see on the pictures here. Your toes, you have your toes, and then the toes kind of connect into bones called metatarsal bones. And then the metatarsal bones connect to tarsal bones. And right around there is the Liz Frank joint complex. And it's kind of just a band of tissue that kind of pull together the bones, because their bones they're not like joints that connect and stabilize each other through a joint, much like an elbow would or a shoulder joint would or a hip joint would. So you've got this strong band of tissue, fibrous tissue that goes around it that you can see if you're looking at the YouTube page that we have up or our YouTube channel. It's kind of like a pinkish looking band that's going across there. Fun fact, Liz Frank injuries are named after Jacques Liz Frank de Saint Martin. That's very, very official. I just want you guys to know.
Very French.
I looked this up.
And not to be confused with Lisa Frank, very little to do with rainbow unicorns and dolphins.
Very not French.
Very not French. Very 90s, very Notebook.
Well, this is very 1800s, just so you know. So Jacques served in the Napoleonic army and observed midfoot injuries in the cavalry soldiers. And so that's how Liz Frank injuries came to be called Liz Frank injuries. So this Liz Frank joint complex, when you have a Liz Frank injury, it can be injury to this fibrous band. It can be an injury to just kind of like bones kind of separating or dislocating, or it could be actual fractures or any combination of them. The important thing to know is this Liz Frank complex, joint complex, is responsible for stabilizing the arch. So it's what helps create the arch in your foot, which is critical in pushing off as you go through your walking gait. So right now, we are not fully aware of what kind of Liz Frank injury Lane Johnson has. But what we do know is he's going to be the second lineman out for the Philadelphia Eagles in the upcoming game against the Cowboys. Their center, Cam Jurgens, is also out with a concussion. So I'm going to put Beth in the driver's seat here. Beth, talk to us about what this will look like from a rehab perspective. I think they're hopeful that he'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks. What's the difference if it's soft tissue versus if it's fractured? Is there really that much of a difference?
Month. There's months difference.
Yes.
So listen, if we're talking just a strain or a sprain versus a fracture or dislocation, we're looking at if there's a fracture or dislocation that requires possible surgery, immobilization for 6 weeks prior to rehab. If we're talking just a sprain, depending on how severe the sprain is, 4 to 6 weeks. He's back before playoffs. I believe we were talking a little bit about this before we went on air. They're waiting on an X-ray or an MRI. They're concerned about swelling to kind of see if it goes down, so they can truly see what the damage is. They're hopeful, again, kind of like we said a week or two ago, the waiting makes me feel like it's probably not a fracture, right? If they thought it was broken, if they thought something was really torn, they would have been in there because they would want to do surgery right away. If they're holding off and kind of pausing, chances are they believe it's not nearly as severe. He was standing and walking on it a little bit right post-injury, which is a good sign as well. I know they did cart him off and stabilize at the end of the game or later on, but that initial injury where he was able to stand and walk on it is a good sign, right? What we're looking at from a rehab perspective, we want to just stabilize, decrease the inflammation, get whatever swelling that they're talking about that they're worried about down, get that fluid out so that the body can heal, right? And then they will start loading that joint as quickly as they can. Active range of motion, trying to just get him moving. Within 3 to 4 weeks, they're going to be doing push-off activities. They'll do taping strategies on his foot to kind of help stabilize and prevent any more injury. They have fibercarbon inserts that they couldn't put inside the shoe to also provide stability. So they've got ways to stabilize and allow him to return to play much faster than you or I would return. So hopefully it's just a small injury, just a sprain, and he can come back quickly.
Perfect.
And to answer the question from YouTube, yes, in fact, Beth is a doctor. You should listen to her.
Emperor onesies. I love the name, by the way. So Beth is a doctorate of physical therapy, and I'm a physician assistant. And together we have like 50 years of practice between the two of us. So
I just renewed my license, and it made me feel really old. So yes, longer than I feel like it should be, but.
And I'm just here for comic relief.
And so much more. Don't let her.
From a medical standpoint, everything else.
But on that note, let's move it right on along. We're running out of time as always. I feel like, how is this already almost up an hour? But real quick, I wanted to say that how much did it cost to hug the goalpost?
A little over $25,000.
So my joke was Lane Johnson, poor guy, from what Beth's researched and we've looked up. It doesn't seem like an x-ray's been done. Doesn't seem like an MRI's been done. Why? I would not know. Maybe they have, maybe they're just not, maybe they're keeping the cards close to hand, but an x-ray is literally not that expensive. An MRI out of pocket for a foot might be $200, which is a lot to a lot of us, but to a Super Bowl organization like the Eagles, bro, what are we doing? So I do understand you do have to wait for the swelling and stuff to come down to have a valid look at the soft tissue, but can we get an x-ray? Can we just get an x-ray? Can we just take a look anyway? Sorry, Lane. I guess, I don't know. Eventually they'll figure out which way the injury is for your Liz Frank injury. But let's move it on along. We have an incredible fit to show you this week. And it's probably because we are so excited he's back to be QB1. Let's go into Rate the Fit. Now, this was not unanimous, but I feel like the picture did not do its justice. When you saw this man live in action walking in the tunnel, I'm like, wow, he's going to be our winner this week. And it's none other than Jameis Winston, QB1 for the New York Giants, coming in with this brown, beautiful sweater. And he's got these black pants on, but he's got that $1 million smile that only Jameis Winston has, and these awesome sunglasses. Ladies, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Like, first of all, he's just happy to be there. And I love, that's confidence. But yeah, it's just classic. It looks great.
Laura, did you actually vote for Jameis this week?
I did.
I was shocked by that because usually you're like the suits gal. But I guess of the ones that we put up there, it was comfy clothes edition.
It was comfy clothes edition. And this for comfy clothes, like he could show up at the office and would look just fine. But also could go out on a date. Like this, it's just a classic outfit.
Love it. Beth?
He's just so fuzzy. He's so fluffy. I just want to cuddle him because he's fluffy.
Yeah, that part too. I will say, shout out to my girl Christina, because she is super sleuthing. Like, she went through picture by picture. And if you go back to our Instagram page, which is Girlfriends in Football, if you go check out our Instagram page, you'll see all of the people who we selected for contention this week. And one of them was King Henry. So he had sparkle shoes. She picked out that he had like these rhinestone studs on his shoes, which I didn't pick up. And then she picked up, someone had, was it, I can't remember which player it was, black shirt, but he had 2 crosses.
Yes.
And she made a comment about that too. So shout out to you, Christina. You are really, I love the intention behind all of your votes. Like you're really in it. And I appreciate that. So check us out on Instagram, where you can always see who's going to be coming up next week for Rate the Fit. Put your vote in and then watch us next Wednesday as we announce the winner. So ladies, it's back over to you for our cocktail mocktail of the week.
Yes!
All right. What do we got?
Well, I had to pick. So listen, I picked this drink a while ago, and then I realized it was my enemy team. So I had to find a good week to drink it, which would be a week that they are 5-5 and now out of playoff contention for the moment. It is the Kansas City Ice Water. It is vodka, Riesling, chamomile syrup, lime juice, sparkling mineral water, a Topo Chico or something similar, and some lime. It is actually very good. And I'll be honest, I did not have chamomile syrup. I had some lavender syrup, and I figured a flower is a flower, close enough. So, it's been a week, and that's what I had in the fridge. So please take every cocktail with a grain of salt and feel free to adjust as needed, because it's very good with lavender versus chamomile as well.
I love lavender. And also, I realize our graphic says recipe follows for the chamomile syrup. and the recipe does not follow.
It doesn't. Pretty
But
much all that is brew it. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Well, it's super easy to make. There's even a hack if you don't want to take a lot of time. Literally chamomile tea, and then equal, just a tea bag, or maybe two if you want it strong, and then equal parts sugar and water, like a cup and a cup. Just boil the water, pour it over the sugar, and stir while the tea bag's in there, and then let it sit for some time until it's all nice and dissolved, and bam, it takes a few minutes. It's no more time than actually making like tea. So, and then just stick it in a container and put it in your fridge, and you'll have it for a little while.
I'm always impressed by you ladies. I just don't have the effort. If I can't just crack one open, if it's not already made for me, if I can't order it, I am just not great at making these things. I don't know what half of these ingredients are. But here on to the mocktail, which is my speed. So let's talk to me about the mocktail.
So it's basically a gin and tonic without gin, right? So it's tonic water, juniper syrup. Again, I clearly have not made this one, because you have to make juniper syrup as well, and lemon juice. Very simple, but again, refreshing, light. That's all there is to it. It's like I said, I'm trying to keep the drink simple this season.
And you could make this with any syrup, just like yours. The juniper will give it the gin flavor, but if you just want a refreshing drink with whatever flavor, especially botanical flavor, it's gonna be tasty.
Very good.
So if you make if you make the chamomile syrup that for the other drink, you can use it twofold.
Absolutely.
I just want to remind you guys that, the holidays are coming up. If you're looking for new recipes to utilize for, obviously the mocktails for maybe your younger folks that are in the house or those who don't drink alcohol. And then, of course, you have the cocktails for the others who want to turn up a bit. We've got great recipes. Go to our Instagram page or our Facebook page where we do put these recipes up every week. And you are welcome to take as you need and utilize them in your holiday festivities. So, all right, on to week 12. It is on and popping. Ladies, we've looking at the end of the season. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The playoffs are just around the corner. So let's get into it. Laura, take it away for week 12. I would like to point out, this is difficult because there are some injuries, some things that are happening that we don't know when we place our picks on Tuesdays.
Right.
So we're just coming out of the Monday announcements of the injuries, right? So we're kind of I struggled with a couple. So Laura, take it away. Who did we pick for week 12?
All right. Well, we start out the week strong. Thursday night, tomorrow, the Bills and Texans. Desi, you're going to need to explain yourself.
I thought you were my friend.
Listen, Beth, you're kicking my ass in picks. I got to start really thinking about who's going to win, who's not. Texans have the number one defense in the NFL. And so really that's what it comes down to. Can Josh Allen get past the Texans? The Texans beat my 49ers. The Texans have beat, their defense, it's D'Amico, Ryans, peoples. If anyone's going to do this to the Bills, I think it's going to be Texas. So I hated to do it. Trust me, did not feel good, but it did feel good to only have 3 games wrong last week. So I'm trying. I'm now the competitive streak's coming out. I gotta move up.
Yeah,
so
you're ready.
That's why I disagree with you is because Buffalo only loses to bad teams.
That
is fair.
A fair assessment.
I don't think the Texans are that great otherwise.
Except for their defense.
You just said.
Yeah, but I think collectively, what are they?
We'll see. We have less than 26 hours and we'll have an answer.
Right. Then we move on. Sunday, we've got the Steelers and Bears. The Bears have been tearing it up, but NFC North cannot. So you all pick the Bears. I pick the Steelers. you could be right, but I just can't put my little icon over there.
Well, this was one of those games. So you've got Aaron Rodgers with this fractured wrist, and they were talking about, will he need surgery? Which I'm like, his wrist ain't that bad. It's his left hand, you know, and it's like, so I think he wants to play, but they haven't come out and said whether he's going to play or not. So I think that's where I'm like, okay, is he going to play or not? And so I kind of put it more towards the Bears. By the way, the Texans record right now is 5-5. So that's where I'm like, their defense is great. So it's still iffy. So it's just, Beth, I want you to know it was iffy on that game. Carry on.
Yeah. All right. Pats and Bengals. I picked the Pats. They've actually been doing pretty well recently, as much as my heart hates to say that. So, but you all picked the Bengals.
Bro.
I can't pick the Pats.
No, I understand. Just, yes, I get that.
Maybe I didn't know that Jamar Chase was already going to be out this game. I don't know why I picked the Bengals. Who's going to
be the quarterback for the Bengals this week?
I think Flacco's back. I do think Flacco's back.
I think Flacco is back.
So we're not, okay. But we're not at Joe Burrow level yet.
No, that's supposed to be next month, allegedly. No. I'll believe that when I see it. I'm still kind of like, meh, but we'll see.
It'll be one of those Aaron Rodgers thing, like if they're playoff contention, he'll show up. If not, they're not going to worry about it.
Right.
Would be my guess.
You mean his Achilles tendon year?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Then we've got the Giants and Lions. We all picked the Lions, hoping for another comeback victory this week. We do tend to do that. We don't really lose.
The Giants.
Yeah. Also, it's the Giants.
We just sang Jameis's praises, and now we're like, nope, he's not going to win. He'll win the pit, but he won't.
It's at Ford Field. Ford Field is, I mean, Lions fans are loud. Like, I have never been in a stadium as loud as Ford Field, and yeah, so I think the Lions probably do have this. So knock on wood. But Dan Campbell, don't go for it on every single fourth down. Like every once in a while, you should kick and get the point. just do it. Some, yes. All, no. All right. Vikings, Packers. This is a tough one for me because I have to pick somebody. But I'm better off if the Vikings win than the Packers or the Lions are. So I went with them. Desi, and Beth picked with me. And Desi, you picked the Packers.
JJ McCarthy's been stinking it up for the Vikings, man. I don't know. I'm going to put a little more faith in Jordan Love for this one. Just a little. And plus, you still got Micah Parsons on the other side of the ball. It's going to make life very difficult for JJ McCarthy.
Yes. Yes. But they need to win.
Very true.
All right. Seahawks, Titans. We all picked the Seahawks. I don't think that's a big surprise to anyone. Colts, Chiefs. We all picked the Colts. I also do not think that's a big surprise to anyone.
I don't know. I was a little tricky on this because Spags is a great defensive coordinator, like amazing. And we've seen the Colts kind of fall apart before. And then, the Chiefs, it's an Arrowhead. I almost wanted to pick the Chiefs, not going to lie.
I mean, I can absolutely see the Chiefs taking this game. I think this will probably be one of the best games to watch this week. But again, I can't pick the Chiefs. And if they could end up with a losing record, that'd be flipping amazing.
But wait, isn't there like a thing with whoever we highlight?
We may run this cocktail back next week if they're 5-6.
Is it a thing? Because I haven't paid attention. I feel like you guys have said it's a thing when we highlight a team for the cocktail mocktail. Is that true?
There's whether it's the team or the player, there's been the occasional where, the next, like for instance, we did Sauce Gardner and the very next week he was traded. So it's a good thing we did it then. But and then like the Lions, they lost last week after we did it. So yeah, there's been some, I don't know if it's a, for sure thing, but it's definitely not always lucky. All right. Jets, Ravens. We all picked the Ravens. I mean, they've not been having a great year, but the Jets are Jetson. They're not doing great either.
Can I let you guys know how much wrath I caught from my husband when the Ravens won? It was one of the games that I did not get right last week. And my husband let me know thoroughly. Hi, babe. Thanks for listening. Love you.
I mean, sometimes we get them wrong. Sometimes we do. All right. Browns with their brand new 47th quarterback versus the Raiders. You all went with the Browns. I went the Raiders. I have absolutely no horse in this race, so it kind of didn't matter to me, and I sort of threw a dart, but we'll see what happens.
Listen, the Raiders, I watched that game the other night. They did not look like they wanted to play football. Like, they were like, oh, someone running past me. Hi.
It was.
It was awful.
They could get their heads out of their rear ends and do it. So you never know.
I feel like Max Crosby's lost muscle mass. Like, this is where I think the Raiders are. So I'm like,
all right, Jags, Cardinals. You all picked the Jaguars. I picked the Cardinals. Again, this is one that I was like, could go either way, but yeah, that's what we did. All right. Eagles, Cowboys, hot on the heels of their win last week. We think they're going to beat the Cowboys, of course, with the injury that we showcased, but I still think they could beat the Cowboys.
I don't know. You guys saw CD Lamb and who was it? They didn't start the game. Schottenheimer was like, I'm going to fault them because I guess they were out partying in Vegas the night before and they didn't meet curfew and they got in trouble or whatever. So they missed one. Bad, yeah. As soon as that thing was done, they were back out there and they caught every single ball carrying on. Anyway, I just
right.
Yeah. So
we got a NFC South matchup, Falcons Saints. You all picked the Saints. I picked the Falcons. I mean, neither team is really oddly lighting it up this year. So, yeah, it could go either way. I mean, the Saints are a little bit worse, perhaps.
I don't know. I feel like the Saints,
I feel like the Falcons have lost their soul.
They definitely lost their quarterbacks. So.
Well, and they'll be at the Superdome, right? So...
And they'll be in New Orleans. And I mean, this is always a good game. They're all like the rivalry and the hatred is deep between these teams.
Right.
For sure. But I don't know that with the last couple of losses that the Falcons have had and then losing Penix, like I think they're just hoping to see the end of the season right now.
Right.
They're ready to quit.
I think the Falcons are also out their first round pick this year because of the trade from last year.
Right.
They would have had an 8th overall.
Right.
Yeah. So the Falcons are done playing football for the foreseeable future.
For the next 5 years.
I mean,
they can go sit with the Jets.
They have to show up on the field, but they might not really put their hearts into it. The Buccaneers Rams, which is the Sunday night game, right? That one, Beth, you picked the Bucs, and Desi and I picked the Rams.
Listen, that's going to be an incredible game. That's going to be a game of the week.
It's going to be a great game.
It will be.
The Bucs are no joke. Like, and I've said this in the past that like I feel like I have a hard time gauging the Bucs, but they're no joke. I mean, they're the real deal. So I think they'll take the Rams, especially after losing last week to the Bills. True. I think they're gonna.
But the Rams have been on fire too, and Matt Stafford, he's really having like the year, a really great year, especially for being a veteran. So yeah, I don't know, and it's going to be in LA.
Can we start just calling all of us veterans instead of old?
Yes, I'm here for it.
He's still significantly
I am
younger
now
than
just
me.
a veteran from here on out.
Veteran. You're just a veteran at life. You've done it. You've done it well.
Oh,
all right.
That's awesome.
And then Monday night, an interesting matchup, more interesting than it probably should be, but we've got the Panthers and the 49ers. And now we all picked the 49ers, but this was a tough one for me because my neighbor, very good friend, Julie, is a huge Panthers fan. So I'm actually hoping to have her over to watch the game on Monday night. And I might film some of her reactions and post them to our socials because it'll be interesting.
I'm calling this the thank you for Christian McCaffrey game. Don't tell your friend that.
Well, right. No, she knows. She's aware. She's like, why does every player that was on our team go to another team and get really good? But
did you see the promos for this game? I'm like, who did the graphics for this? It was trash. I was like, what? This is how you want somebody to get hyped for Monday Night Football? Collectively, I think Monday Night Football games this year has been trash anyway. Sorry. I'm starting to like Thursday Night Football when I used to not like Thursday Night Football. Am I the only one?
I mean, well, there have been definitely a handful of Monday night games this year that have just been snooze fests.
Yeah. I don't know. Anywho, It's been a weird football year, though. I feel like there's not like a strong front runner.
It really has been. It really has been. So that's all the picks. So please in the chat.
They're not the teams that we thought were going to be.
Well, yes.
They're not the teams that we anticipated.
That's true.
That are running the show. So
nobody's like, who thought that the Panthers would actually be contenders? Like, who thought that?
Right, it'd be fun to watch. Right,
Daniel Jones. Like what? Yeah, it's been a weird year. Very weird year.
And Chiefs 5-5, Buffalo second, where they are. The Patriots with a no-name quarterback from nowhere, like
right. But don't tell fans, because fans of that guy, man, they'll talk to you for days about everything he's ever done.
How about the Chiefs? If it were to end today, they wouldn't make the playoffs.
Right.
You're welcome, Gabe. You're welcome, Gabe. So, all right. Well, that wraps up our week 11 recap, week 12 preview. Thank you so much to Cassandra Sampson again for being our guest this evening. We hope that you guys learned a little something, laughed with us, got you some recipes to get you right for the upcoming holidays, upcoming game day. Join us again next Wednesday as we do it all again, recapping week 12. You'll be here with us, the girlfriends, and check out our socials while you're at it. Instagram, Facebook, we're all there, Girlfriends in Football. We will see you next week. Happy football.
Go Bills.